Voxxed Days Bristol with Georgiana, who's speaking about scaling. And this came up because we were just chatting about languages. And I was saying, oh, you should do Java. But Georgiana said, well, if you see what we did with PHP, maybe you change your mind. So what do you mean by that? What project were you working on with this PHP magic?
Well, it's I've presented a case study about a US airline, which is an ultra low cost airline. So they sell tickets on the cheap, meaning they have a lot of visitors on their website. And what we managed to do is to actually allow them that during Black Friday and Cyber Monday to have income of extra $10 million.
Oh, $10 million extra.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's quite a challenge, and PHP is playing a very important part in this architecture. It's something that we learned along the way to use some clever tricks to speed things up and look at the data holistically. Analyze the entire process instead of focusing on technical solutions. We were really thinking of how to minimize every communication between components so that the footprint of the data transfer is very small, but the functionality is really working. And if you will try and have a look at some of the tricks that I was presenting, you will notice that we uncovered a very clever way of doing A/B testing also on an infrastructure level, not just on the UI level. So I think you will have a lot of things to gain by actually checking the contents of what I've presented.
What kind of A/B testing were you doing? Was it performance A/B testing?
Any sort of A/B testing, because we were introducing a concept called silo, where you take the entire functionality of your application end to end and box it and say, okay, this is a silo, and then horizontally scale the silos on a per need basis. But at the same time, what you can do is you can raise another silo that is delivering the exact same end-to-end functionality using different tools. So if, for example, you want to change your cache backend from Memcache to Redis or to a different thing, in the second silo, you hide these things up from the user and just use the new tag and see if it works with maybe 1% of the traffic. Real production data. So you're not in a laboratory trying to figure out if it will work. You just check that it works in production, and you don't disappoint your users because you only drive a very small portion of the traffic in that second scenario. You can even A/B test the infrastructure. So instead of using like 10 machines, maybe you need 20 machines. You can scale things inside the silo as well.
Oh, okay.
And if you want to change your stack from PHP to Java, you can do that because it's closely hidden inside the silo.
And do you use silos for, I noticed that you talk about parallel requests. Do the silos come into the parallel requests?
No, that's something that is internal to the way we implemented the work inside one silo. So in PHP, because PHP is not multi-threaded, it's very difficult to achieve parallelism. Yeah. And what we did was to use another trick. We call it the 204 trick. And every time you make a request to an endpoint, the endpoint will need to validate the data that is coming and check that the permissions are correct. You are allowed to make that call, but then immediately will return a 204. And the PHP process can continue working, so you can have long-running processes just because it's a convention. So the 204 trick says, okay, I fully trust that you will take care of my problem. Thank you for acknowledging that. And that's everything that the front end needs to do. In this time, you can refresh the UI, load the static assets and everything, and just go to the process and ask for the live data afterwards. So you can do a lot of things in parallel, but with a quite clever approach, I would say.
So do you almost pretend, when you get the request in, you pretend that the request is complete. You go, okay, I've seen your request.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have any long-running requests.
Yeah. And this is a trust thing. So once you return a 204, being the component that was called, when you give back a 204, you kind of make a promise that you will finish doing the work. And the colleague will never know that until they actually check for the data. But one very important thing that is happening is that if a server problem occurs in the process that is fulfilling that request, it will not be seen by the user. So the user will not see 500 pages or anything like that, because they will be asking continuously the cache if the data is present in the cache. And if it's not, we can say, oh, can you try making a search again, or can you do something else? So we are effectively turning server problems into a very friendly UX, so the user can always recover from what they were doing, even if something really bad happened on the server side.
So if everything goes completely wrong on Black Friday,
Yeah.
you don't have the frustration trying to,
No.
as a user, trying to.
You expect for things to be already sold. You expect that your specific seat that you chosen in the plane is now taken by somebody else, and you are willing to go back and try again. So this is not an issue. It's actually meeting the user expectation. But if you are just showing white pages or very bad server issues, then they will lose trust in your application and in your brand. And they will not return outside Black Friday to purchase anything else from you.